2020, the number of poor people in Nigeria are about 89 million, and the World Bank noted that in the nearest future, this number would increase to 95.1 million. And they also went further to say that it will become very difficult for Nigeria to tackle poverty if the rate of unemployment increases and violence continues to occur. Now, there are so many questions that need answers, but where do we get these answers? How do we know if not the government's giving it to us? Anyway, my name is Gift David, and I welcome you guys to a very interesting episode of Public Announcement. And to shed more light on today's topic, we'll be talking about hunger, unemployment, and poverty in the country. And to shed more light on this topic is a guest who is already in the studio with me, but I'm going to be introducing this guest to you guys shortly after this break. I'll be right back.
Ara, it's Made Kuti. And I just want to inform all of you and to say,
vote, not fight. Election will be war.
Come out and vote. It's your right, it's your responsibility.
Because that's the single most important thing you can do to affect the outcomes.
Don't stay at home. Make sure you come out and make sure you vote.
This time, we need to do it and do it right.
It is your civic responsibility to choose your leaders.
Vote.
Vote. Vote, not fight.
Because election will be war.
To know when a country is close to doom, you look at the middle class, and Nigeria's is fast vanishing. Nigeria's middle class was born during the oil boom of 1970s. Presently, the gulf between the rich and the poor is alarming. Let's go back in time. Oil was first discovered in Oloibiri, Bayelsa State in 1956 by Shell Darcy. By 1958, Shell Darcy had discovered oil in 12 areas in the Niger Delta. Before the discovery of crude oil, Nigeria was an agricultural-based economy. The exportation of cash crops like rubber from Delta State in South-South region, groundnut, hide and skin from the northern region, cocoa, coffee from the western region, palm oil and kernels from the eastern region were the country's source of foreign exchange. From 1960 to 1969, it generated 64.5% of export earnings, and from 1970 to the late 2000s, the sector's contribution declined because the government neglected it and turned its attention to petroleum exploration and refused to diversify her economy. Coal has also offered Nigeria great wealth. It was the main energy in the 1916, and it remained the main energy source for the country until 1960. Coal is present in about 13 states. Nigeria has always had strong potential economy, but with the discovery of oil came wastage, neglect of other sectors, and corruption. The government could not save like other oil-producing countries during the oil boom. Corruption in public spaces increased. The neglect of the other promising sectors gave rise to unemployment. This was a country where graduates used to get jobs before they graduated from the university. Today, there are more graduates than jobs. What went wrong?
Welcome back to Public Announcement. On the show, we talk about pressing issues that is affecting you and I and the economy and every other person in this country. And today's topic is how to deal with hunger, poverty, and unemployment in our country. And of course, I have a guest who is in the studio with me. He's an on-air personality, an entertainer, a media entrepreneur, and his name is Oladotun Ojuolape Kayode, popularly known as Do2, the TUN, the mic god himself.
You already know. You already know.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm very fine. I mean, I don't need to ask him. You're looking cool as ever.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
Thank
so
you.
first off, before we delve into today's topic, right? So I want to ask you, how is the current situation of the country treating you? How are you dealing with it?
To be honest, we're all in the same shoes. I mean, everybody could say we're all different in our own, box or what we're doing, or, sometimes in Nigeria we tend to classify people on a pyramid or definitely what we call stratification. So sometimes you might think you're doing good, or just because you look good means, people just claim you think or feel like you are. But the truth is, I mean, we all pay for power. We all apply the same route, the same road. This same road. It's the same road. If you're coming to the island, you're coming to the mainland, it's the same road we all take. And definitely the roads are bad. So I don't fly in the air to get to where I'm going to. So the truth is, we cannot disconnect our hearts from how bad the system has made our minds flip every single time. Because, for example, you're thinking, or do I need to stay back? Do I need to go away? Would I get a better, life if I step away from Nigeria? But the truth is, there's nothing that you're going through that we're all not going through. The truth is the difference is we're all in different spheres of life. Maybe like they say stratification.
Right.
And I can be grateful. I can say, oh, maybe for me, I'm grateful. But the truth is, you cannot be grateful when $1 now is almost 749, to $1. That's a lot, to be honest. And it's affecting every single thing. So we all don't have the same power. We also don't have, we all drive our cars, or maybe jump on buses or anything on the same roads, or get cabs on the same road. The same, we have friends, family and friends who...
looking at the present situation of the country, we have to queue for the same fuel at the same gas station.
So we're all going through the same thing, same money.
Okay, now to the topic of today. So we're talking about poverty.
Yeah.
So would you say unemployment is like a major cause of poverty in Nigeria?
Well, we can say that unemployment is, but I feel it also starts from, for me personally, it starts from the type of education we even give people. Because for example, I think unemployment is not just you getting a job. It starts with what we feed ourselves in the type of education that we get, because then people are not self-reliant. People are not thinking I could do something with my skills and talents. I don't have to go and work under anybody to be better. So I feel like it's not even just unemployment. I feel like the type of education that's given to us, or the type of system we find ourselves, it also builds you into being unemployed, because now you're waiting for the next job, or you can't even develop yourself because the things are not there. So I think unemployment is just, for me personally, I think unemployment is just a branch of too many things that have failed. Education, and that's what it. So that, for example, poverty it's not even about you getting unemployed. It's the fact that somebody has the mind to do something else, but the resources are not even there to make that happen. So you might not even be busy. You might be somebody who didn't go to school. But the thing is, just making sure you do something even with yourself and talent, I think the system does not even encourage that. So for me, it's not just employment, it's even the poverty of the mind. And that's what education has even given us here in our country, Nigeria. Okay,
so speaking of unemployment, now do you think this particular system, this set of unemployed people, or let's just talk about unemployment and the kind of damages it has caused on the system, do you think we've had more corruptions, terrorism, robbery, kidnapping? Can we tie this to unemployment? Because a lot of youth will come out and say, oh, we don't have a job, no one is giving us what to do, we're trying to start a business and there's no light. There's no funds to even kick this business off. Oh, I even raise money to do this, and someone will come and break down what I'm trying to even, feed myself. Do you understand? So would we attribute all of these bad things to unemployment?
The thing is, it's not even attributing all of this to unemployment. I think I will attribute all the things you're saying to a bad system running the whole sphere of the country. I feel like the system needs to have, unemployment is just one thing. For example, like, I don't even have to get a job, right? To earn. Right. If you give me all the basics, I know I'm getting power. I know I'm getting, low cost, shelter, or I know at the end of the day, there's a way that things can happen and my government can subsidize, even when I cannot raise my feet to a certain level, then people will have that balance. The problem with the country is there's no balance. And that way, for me, unemployment is one of those things. But I feel like it's even our value system. The value system of you thinking, if I don't have to work, but I'll be rich the next day. Those things have to change. So it's not even about unemployment. I think for us, our mind, the mind of, oh, when I'm bad, that means I'm good. Or when I'm good, that means I'm bad. Or when somebody is trying to be honest at his job and everybody's thinking, you're not related, a little getting, a little jassy. Those things, so it's not even just unemployment as a thing. I feel like it's the value system, our mindset. It's made to feel like you can't be poor today. Yeah, you can be rich the next day. But the funny thing is, it almost makes you think that I can be poor today and I can take your money and I'll be rich the next day. So for me, everyone says unemployment. It's even for me personally. If you know that deep inside me, I said, okay, you know what? I don't want to do this thing. This is bad. I'm not going to do it. Right. But everybody, so I don't have a job. But then the system already allows me to. There's no way that even the system works that there's no crime. It just reduces. So crime comes from the fact that the system is right. If the crime is reduced, that means the system is right. You know. So for me, we have to go back. Unemployment is an example of the same way we look at vandalism, the same way we look at robbery, or we look at kidnapping. Do you get what I'm saying? Even for me, I think unemployment is also something bad done to the people. So it's one of those bad things as well. So I just feel like, yeah, we can say, to be honest, that's the reason why. But no, it's also the reason is because even our mindset has been warped. So it's almost like, you know, I don't have to work and I'll make money. So those things have to change. Unemployment is just one of those things that, if that happens, is one of the things that open all the doors to all of these things. But also the value system. We have people that will have the chance to get a job and they still do these things. Exactly. So I don't want to blame everything on unemployment. I blame it on a system that is bad to encourage all of these things.
Okay, beautiful. Now let's talk about, you know, youth and creating wealth and a means of, you know, income for themselves. So at this point, we're done with the government, because it looks like the youth are done with the government, you know, creating opportunities for them to earn. And now they go about doing their businesses. We see a lot of online stores, fashion people, and we see people making big names in this industry. Take, for instance, your industry. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to wait for the government to tell you to do something to make money. You know what to do as a media person, right? And we have a lot of people that way. Do you think this system as it is right now, because it's looking like the government is almost like, you know what, you guys just do you, but do you think it's sustainable that we keep doing things for ourselves? You know, we amass wealth for ourselves, we create these things, and at the end of the day, we blame the government that are even fighting against what we're doing. So do you think it's sustainable? No. So we're looking at 50 years from now.
If you check the last 3 years or 5 years, you realize that before, after COVID, there was one time they said, oh, they wanted to, they said, oh, they were going to add a percentage on something, or via VAT or stuff like that. The truth is, you see, in other parts of the world, right, you see a system that enables their citizens. You know, you can't do it to a certain level, the government will help you with this. Or you can't do it to a certain level, the government will need to support you on this. If you have a good idea or whatnot, there's something that's in place to subsidize all the things you're doing. I think the problem is, even the rules and regulations, the strategy, the objectives, sometimes stifles growth. So in the last 3-4 years, you've seen a lot of businesses that have packed up. I mean, you see, there was a lady who was a brilliant baker. She makes cakes, and she came on her page and said, I've closed down this business. You know, and there's a lot of people like that who still try to work and all that, but sometimes, you know, when $1 is now 4 times. Now, just imagine you go to get materials for what you need to buy. Maybe you need to make cakes, or you need to sell food. Food is not the same anymore. Now, guess what? That money, you're taking it out of all your customers. You get to a point and say, no, I can't afford this anymore. So the thing is, we don't want a system that stifles growth. We have enough troubles already, you know? And I think a lot of people out there have been able to try and say, okay, I don't want to steal. I don't want to do anything shady. I want to do something. But what it is that the ways the system enables you, maybe there's 24 hours power that's subsidized, or, you know, at the end of the day, there's probably constant power supply, or there's no traffic that's disturbing you from getting your goods to the setting level, the raw materials are coming in, or you don't have to ship and do all those things. It's a lot. For example, car dealers have had one of the worst hits since the pandemic. Everything changed. So a guy who's a car dealer maybe used to buy a car at 20,000 right now, and then you buy, at the end of the day, guess what? Right now he has to buy those cars at 50,000. At the end of the day, he cannot sustain it.
It's not even cheap as well. So before the consumers even get the car,
it's not sustainable.
5 times.
So I think what happens is you see a lot of people in Nigeria that do businesses because they want to keep their head afloat. Oh, they don't be like, say, I don't do you, which means that when they say, oh, he's lazy, or she's lazy. That's why people are. So the people work because they want to have a tag. People work because, you know, hopefully things might happen. But you realize at the end of the day, it gets to a point in the business and you just realize that you're owing a lot of people and the business is bad and there's so much debt, then you realize that you cannot. So it's not sustainable. So what it means at some point, the system of the government needs to subsidize certain things. Need to put things in place not to stifle growth. Also, there are also things that are there that might help you, but I also realize that people are not even open to information because they're not passing it the right way.
All right, thank you for that one. I'm sure the viewers and the listeners at home have so much to share as well, where you can follow us on Instagram at official HIPTV to drop your comments on this matter on public announcement. Right now, let's go into the streets and see what the people and the young people on the street are saying about unemployment. My name is David. I'll be right back.
Poverty, unemployment, everything that we're seeing in security is as a problem of bad governance. Now that the election is approaching, well, I'm not even speaking for any party, but all we just need is good governance. Get your PVC votes and vote for the right person. And let the right person we're picking never take side. Put the interest of the citizen into consideration. People that voted into power, number one. Number two, let the rule of law in this country work.
We have been going through a lot in the country. So, guys, if we are choosing this election year, if we are going to choose, we should choose wisely.
And let me even mention that the government is not even making it easy for people who even have small-scale businesses. The economy is not favorable for them. Things are difficult. The country just keeps trying to the government keeps trying to make things difficult even for small-scale businesses, which is one of the problems we need to deal with.
There are a lot of poverty in the country, a lot of unemployment. The youth are very, let me say, about 60% of the youth are unemployed.
Not the rule of law for the poor, where there's going to be a special rule of law for the rich. So, and furthermore, let's put the interest of our own selves at heart. In a country where there's no love, there can be peace. Let's love ourselves. It's not about tribe. I'm even happy about this country, Nigeria, that there's this thing we call inter-tribe marriage. People marry from different states, different communities, different ethnics. So we are one. There's no possibility of we saying there's going to be a divided Nigeria. We are one.
I think I just want a good governance. Looking at how people are relocating, you guys, we need to talk about this. Good governance would actually make people stay in their country. Nigeria is a good country. The weather, let's even forget the heat, but the weather is favorable.
After this election, I just want peace. Because anytime I see my children sleep at night, I look at them like, these are my tomorrow. What's going to be like for them when this country is like this? So please and please, I'm begging all Nigerians, let's go out in en masse with our voters card, vote for the right person, with a good heart of God that can take Nigeria to the next level. And if you have voted in, please, I'm begging you, do the right thing. Give us security, good jobs, enable environment so that the hardworking will not become the laziest person now, whereas the laziest person will be the one catching them, catching out like those guys do say.
Ara, it's Kuti, and I just want to inform all of you and to say,
vote, not fight. Election will be war.
Come out and vote. It's your right, it's your responsibility.
Because that's the single most important thing you can do to affect the outcomes.
Don't stay at home. Make sure you come out and make sure you vote.
This time, we need to do it and do it right.
It is your civic responsibility to choose your leaders.
Vote.
Vote, vote, not fight.
Because election will be war.
Welcome back to Public Announcement on HIPTV. My name is Gift David, and of course I have with me in the studio Do2tun, Do2tun, and we are talking about unemployment and poverty in the country. And of course we just came back from the streets where a lot of people have so many things to share. Everybody talking about the problems that they are currently facing in the country. But the thing is, everything that we're talking about, we all have a part to play in it. And that is for us to vote the right leaders into power to take us to the place that we all want this country to be. So right now I'm going to ask you, Do2tun.
Okay.
What are the pressing problems that you have as a creative?
Pressing. For me, first of all, I'll tell you, it is the, completely say, the ease of creativity, it comes with an environment where things can be freely done. For example, let me just even speak for people who shoot movies.
Okay.
Sometimes they can't even go to proper sets, or they can't even take shots, in their own environment. You know,
There's someone coming to harass. Yeah.
So it seems like it's completely free when it comes to creativity, but it's not exactly free. So I feel like for me, one of the pressing things as a creative is just making sure that the environment is organic and is easy for you to be able to do your work without you being getting mobbed or anything. I think for me personally, that one. But generally, I think for everything you're doing, if you're a doctor, you're an engineer, we're going through the same thing. But for creatives, I mean, I want to go home and have 24 hours power that I'm not, you know, that for me is pressing. And education. For me personally, I want us to we have education that we can go to school, even push further than what you already done in school. And it's not exactly tough to get through that space. So for me personally, I just feel like it's just not, and for me creative, we don't earn a lot, to be honest. So that is pressing because it's almost like it's the system does not even recognize that it should. It's just one of those things you do, like it's more like something you do that when you see kids that are not that the most kids that were somehow not the very attentive kids in school, or seen as the very troublesome kids, So I feel that needs to change because I mean, well, personally, it's everything that you think anybody's going through: engineer, nurse, banker. I mean, we always want to have 24 hours power. Right. We also want to be able to have good roads to go home, So
fuel to get you to your place of work and back home.
It's not peculiar to what I do, but I feel like for me, creatively, it's not exactly free. It's not subtle. It's still, you have to do a lot to get it. So I think for me, that's a lot for me.
Okay, so to the major question of the day.
Yeah.
So this question we're asking everybody: what does Do2tun want? We all have different wants. We all have different needs.
What do I want?
Now, in relation to the country, what do you want?
First, I want a very, very open-minded, trustworthy, honest, study, and hardworking, and right-thinking leaders. That's what I want. I feel like if the top is good, it will be good at the bottom.
Definitely.
Because the thing is, if you don't have people who are selfish, greedy, and you know that at the end of the day, it's like you saying, you're looking at your parents, right? And you know your daddy does not steal, your parents don't steal, or you don't do all those things. You'll be too scared to do that too as well. And whatever I'm doing, I transfer to you. It's not like at the end of the day, we're going to have bad kids.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, all the kids will not be bad. It can be that in some cases. But I feel like, let's even try that, where we have someone who has empathy towards his people. I just want somebody who has feelings towards his people, who have a level of emotions towards his people, who love his people, who will feel like one life is a big deal. Who I know that I can go to any part of the country and something happens to me and the government says, you know what, I'm going to go in there and pick my own first. That's the kind of system and leaders that's all I want. Just a trustworthy, honest, hardworking, and a leader that has empathy, that loves his people. That's for me, that's all I want.
All right, I mean, your wants are very, very valid. I mean, I want all of that and so much more. And there is this Yoruba adage that says, I would say it in English, like the fish starts to spoil from the head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so if anything is going to go wrong, so the system is the fish. If anything is going to go wrong with the body, that we the people, it will definitely start with the head, with the leaders. So what will be your advice to the youth out there about this upcoming election?
I cringe sometimes when I see young people who complain so much. And let me take it back to the basic social studies. They talk about civic responsibilities. You know how to sing the national anthem, you know how to read the pledge, you know how to vote, you vote. Those are basic things. So let's go back to those days when you know that at the end of the day, it is not, if you do not vote, you have no right. And let me repeat this. If you do not vote, or you are within that age where you can vote and you do not cast your vote, you have no right to fight, to complain, or to, or to make allegations, or, about a system that doesn't work, because you're part of that system that's not working. So it is necessary that you go out there. I cringe when I see people who tell you, can PVC, no.
Some would even tell you, am I voting when it will not count?
Exactly.
A lot of youth say that.
We need to keep open our minds and start seeing things differently. That thing makes me cringe. So I want everybody out there, go and get your PVC and vote. Listen, it's powerful. I feel like at some point that should be a criteria to do certain things. It's like you having your driver's license or having your international passport.
Right.
You can never leave your country without your international passport. Definitely. I feel to get to a point, we need to start asking for, oh, okay, so you want to do certain things, where's your PVC?
Where's your PVC?
We need to get to that point. You must. It is your right and it is your basic civic responsibility to vote. So for me, that's my advice. Go and get your PVC and stop complaining. Period.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. I mean, it has been an enlightening episode with you today on Public Announcement. Thank you so much for stopping by. And hopefully we get to see more of you on the show. I mean, it looks like you have so much to share with the viewers at home. All right, at this point, we're going to wrap it up. Now you know that it is your civic right to go out there and vote. Do not complain, whatever it is. Go out there and get your PVC and vote the right leaders. Do not allow what you're eating now to deprive you of what you and your generation is going to gain in the future. Vote the right leaders so our Nigeria can be better for you and I and our generations to come. Anyway, this is that point we're going to wrap it up on Public Announcements. I'll see you guys on another episode. Have a good day.